Without any further ado, we're going to get to our first presentation. Welcome to Promising Tomorrow.
But 3,000 people with 150 disciplines, everything that you can do to create things like this, and fighting with your team. I mean, collectively working with your team to make certain effects work. We need to have this.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these slides because this is not what got built. But I just want to show you.
I want to spend a lot of time on these slides because that looks cool. There was a model of New Tomorrowland, and it said Astronomers Club.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
As something, not Club 33, but something
No.
kind of like Club 33.
But my favorite memory of that was watching Cal David go into George's laundry room with a big microphone between his washer and his dryer, singing, you know, gravity, you got a hold on me, yes you do, and just looking through the window of the laundry room at Cal David perched between the washing machine doing sunny clips.
To this day, I think he is still one of the most expressive animatronic figures Disney has ever done. It's just amazing. In the final version, he would be on a turntable, of course, so as he's moving, he can be turning as well.
Career-wise, you probably have to come to the realization that we all can't succeed every time.
See, I don't think it wasn't.
It was.
I don't think it was not successful. I think it was successful. You know, it was too scary, and I don't know. I'm sure it was to some people, but I would argue vehemently that it was a failure. I don't think it was a failure.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Yay! That was fun.
This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. But here now the news for February 3rd, 2025. Following a recent wording change to the official Disability Access Service website, Disney has now changed the length of the registration window of the service at both Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World. The new changes have already taken effect. The newest change to the program is an extended window for registering for the service. Previously, guests were required to determine their DAS eligibility by chatting with a cast member 30 days prior to their park visit. Now, the new wording on the website has expanded the window to 60 days, doubling the length of the registration period. The new wording on the site states guests may discuss their needs with a cast member via live video chat as soon as 60 days prior to their park visit. Cast members will work with guests individually to discuss their specific requests and offer assistance. As the wording mentions, the process for applying for the DAS program has not changed. However, now guests have nearly 2 months to determine if they will be admitted into the DAS program prior to the beginning of their planned park visit. This extended window will allow guests additional time to make informed decisions about their upcoming vacation. Additionally, the longer window will allow potential DAS applicants to determine their eligibility prior to the refund date for a Disney vacation package. Disney resort reservations with a vacation package are only fully refundable 30 days prior to the reservation's check-in date. Since the previous DAS window started at 30 days, applicants would be required to pay a hotel cancellation fee if they were denied DAS and decided to cancel a trip. Now guests will be able to see if they're eligible and make reservation decisions based on results. That's still not terribly far out to determine whether or not your vacation will be enjoyable or not, because you have a condition that may make it not enjoyable. So this is still, like, I appreciate that Disney is working on things. We've seen changes in wording, we've seen this. That being said, everyone that has contacted me since the wording change says nothing has really changed in their cases. It's still not enough. It's still just not enough. This still isn't working. As I said on the last show, we talked about this with, you know, if you're outside of a store and guests, you know, who aren't disabled are using the ramp, just because they're using the ramp they're not supposed to doesn't mean the ramp should be taken away from people that need it. This is no different. I don't really care what anyone says. It's not different. Just because some people abuse the system doesn't mean people that need it should no longer be offered it. And so a solution still needs to be found. The first piece of new track has been installed as construction work continues on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in the Magic Kingdom. During a recent visit, we took a ride on the Liberty Bell riverboat to check on the progress of the refurbishment. The attraction has been closed since January 6th and will remain closed through the rest of 2025. As we passed by the front of the mountain, we noticed a plastic covering on the building that houses the ride's queue. The covering is attached below the awning that holds the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad sign and is draped down in front of the rockwork in front of the building. Safety cones are also in place on the right side of the structure near a set of stairs, and additional pieces of plywood and scaffolding lay on the ground near the wagon, implying that more scaffolding structures will be set up soon. A small box-like structure holding various construction supplies was sitting near another pile of scaffolding behind the wagon, and as we rounded the side of the mountain, one of the crew members waved to us from amongst the rockwork. Hello, sir. Turning the corner, we saw a piece of coaster track hanging at the end of the crane ropes being lowered into the cavern. So that means crew members are now working together to guide these pieces of track into place. These are the first new pieces of track. Of course, they removed most of the old track within just a few weeks' time since the attraction closed back in the beginning of January. But here we go now, first new sections of track already being installed. That being said, we still got a long way to go till this thing reopens. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad will reopen with a little bit of new magic, to quote Disney, sometime in 2026. They also said it will have new bells and whistles, was another way it was phrased. But yeah, of course, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, a new Disney Villains-themed land, and the Cars expansion of Frontierland, all part of this ongoing project in the back corner of the Magic Kingdom that will be ongoing for quite some time. In a survey sent to guests who visited EPCOT for the International Festival of the Arts, Disney is asking their thoughts on CommuniCore Hall. Disney asked guests who indicate they visited CommuniCore Hall during the current Once Upon a Stage 30 Years of Disney on Broadway exhibit how much they agree with the following statement. Current offerings within CommuniCore Hall are a valuable use of the space. The options are strongly agree, somewhat agree, neither agree nor disagree, somewhat disagree, and strongly disagree. A follow-up states, please elaborate on why you agree or disagree that the current offerings within CommuniCore Hall are a valuable use of the space. There's space to write a response, or guests can skip the question. Disney then asks if your most recent trip was your first trip to CommuniCore Hall. Guests who say this is not their first visit to the venue can select which of the following times they have visited CommuniCore Hall, whether that be the summer of 2024, the Food and Wine Festival, or the Festival of the Holidays, and now the Festival of the Arts. Or you could select that you don't recall, because it's that forgettable as to when your first time was in CommuniCore Hall. Depending on what options guests select, they are asked to compare their experiences with CommuniCore Hall from now and then. They can choose to say CommuniCore Hall's current offerings are much better, somewhat better, about the same, somewhat worse, or much worse than they were during any of those other time periods. Of course, CommuniCore Hall opened in June of 2024, along with CommuniCore Plaza. One side of the building is dedicated to a permanent Mickey and Friends meet and greet, while the other side is a flex space that has housed shopping and festival offerings. It's faced significant criticism from us and others. As we stated in our original review, CommuniCore Hall offers some much-needed functional space, including seating, but isn't anything special to look at. I love that Disney's asking people. I appreciate that they're asking guests how they feel about it now versus then. I said on the show, I think the Broadway exhibit's great. I think it's a much better use of the space. It feels full in there. It's something worth the space, and it fills it nicely. They've done a nice job. And I want to, again, commend the festival team. This has not been their fault. I know it's been a fight for a budget to fill the space, and this is really the first time they've gotten that budget to do so. So good on them. Bad on upper management for not letting this happen sooner. But this essentially should be the standard moving forward. Let me know if you feel the same in the comments if you've seen the Broadway exhibit. I think it's a big, big improvement, and it finally feels right in that space for sure. We spotted some new scaffolding added to the side of the Mexico Pavilion in EPCOT as construction crews work on repainting the side of the building. The scaffolding is on the left side of the pyramid as you enter the pavilion. The scaffolding is metal and has some solid floors near the top for construction crews to stand on. The standing areas have handrails and are lined with orange semi-transparent scrims. They continue back behind the tip of the Mexico pyramid. And while no workers were present when we arrived, it appears this area is being prepped for some repainting. The ladder connected to the scaffolding reaches all the way down to the ground. The door to the left of the pavilion has been propped open, but a black stanchion has been placed to prevent guests from coming too close. The Mexico Pavilion has been seeing more recent construction taking place on the inside as the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros is currently closed for refurbishment. The track is drained and they're doing lots of work in there. So just a lot of love for the Mexico Pavilion right now. Grand Fiesta Tour reopens on March 15th. Today's show is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts to the Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. If you don't believe me, here are some testimonials from our WDWNT viewers. Mark David Garcia said, "Life can be hectic, and planning a vacation to Walt Disney World is a tall task if you're not up to date with the ever-changing landscape." Lainey was our guardian angel who guided us through each step to a fantastic experience. Lainey was amazing, and I don't know when she sleeps, but the service you'll get is unparalleled. She'll be who I call first for our next adventure. Matthew Chekrala said, "I had an amazing experience working with Lisa at Be Our Guest to plan the perfect 30th birthday trip for my fiance and myself. Lisa expertly guided us through planning a split stay at 2 resorts for our trip, in addition to helping us secure a variety of difficult-to-get reservations for both dining experiences and tours. Both my fiance and I agreed it was the best Disney trip of our lives, and we can't wait to plan our next trip. I cannot recommend Lisa and Be Our Guest enough." And Ryan I'm going to butcher this one, Kazmerzak. Ryan Kazmerzak. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sure you're watching, and I've now embarrassed myself. But he said everything was great. The trip planning was easy and was stress-free. Can't say enough about how good Be Our Guest is, especially our agent Lisa. Highly recommend. And of course, as you all know at home, the best part is their concierge services are 100% free. So book today. What's This? Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Sing-Along has been chosen as a finalist for the most creative winter holiday production, a brass ring award given by IAAPA. The show, which debuted in 2023 at Disney Jollywood Nights, features the giant lifelike Jack Skellington puppet from Disney's not-so-spooky spectacular Fireworks at the Magic Kingdom. The puppet introduces guests to the show, which follows 2 friends as they discover the story of The Nightmare Before Christmas. With each song, the scene from the film plays on screen with lyrics for guests to sing along to. What's This is the first song. The others featured Are Kidnapped, The Sandy Claus, Sally's Song, Oogie Boogie Song, and the finale. The full video of this show can be watched right here on our channel. Also nominated for Most Creative Winter Holiday Production is the Live Entertainment. In the Live Entertainment Excellence category are Six Flags Over Georgia's Six Flags Holiday Special and Frosty's Electrical Snow Party, which of course is from Universal Studios Japan. I think we have a video of that on our Universal channel you could watch. According to IAAPA, finalists will be invited to an in-person awards gala held at Europa Park in Germany from April 28th through the 30th. Real quick, before we get to our next story, I want to mention Carousel of Products. If you want to pre-order our Intergalactic Lounge Singer plush, look how cute he is. Get him. We also have lots of leftover stuff from our Promising Tomorrows event, including a very limited supply of these Space Mountain ball pit balls. We also, of course, have the Alien Encounter 30th Anniversary sticker, the Promising Tomorrows event magnet. We also have those great lithographs, Tim Delaney's Space Mountain lithograph, and as well the original New Tomorrowland poster recreated for you. You can enjoy all those products. But also, we've marked some items down. So some of our old button-up shirts, the Animal Kingdom 25th Anniversary, and as well the WDWNT logo button-ups, those are about half price right now. We've also marked several t-shirts down to $5 each. So make sure you check out Carousel of Products at carouselofproducts.com. Disney has announced an official closing date for its Stuff to Be a Bug at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Per the Walt Disney World website, the attraction will be closed forever on March 17th of 2025 to make way for Zootopia Better Zootopia coming to the park in winter of this year. The last day of operation for It's Tough to Be a Bug will be March 16th. It's Tough to Be a Bug is a 3D film and live show that is inspired by Pixar's A Bug's Life. During the show, hosted by Flick, guests become honorary bugs. Honorary what? And learn how insects survive in the wild. The show is an opening day attraction for Animal Kingdom, housed in the Tree of Life, the centerpiece of the park. The new Zootopia Better Zootopia show will feature characters from the Zootopia film. Disney also shared a sneak peek of the new original song for Zootopia Better Zootopia. The video features Jennifer Goodwin, the voice of Judy Hopps, singing a few lines from the new original song that will be in the show. So there you go, just a couple days left to see It's Tough to Be a Bug. I'm sad. I like this show. I know people don't. I love It's Tough to Be a Bug. I'm very sad about this, but I also love Zootopia, but I don't know how they're going to make this fit. I don't know how this is going to make any sense in where it's going to be, but we'll wait and see. The Dino-Land plush that were available as prizes from Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama games are now being sold to cast members, despite the fact that they quote-unquote sold out for guests in the area's final days of operation. Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama in Dinoland USA permanently closed earlier this year. The area featured Triceratops Spin, the gift shop, and multiple carnival-style games called the Fossil Fun Games. Prior to the area's closure, coveted prizes that guests attempted to win were the Cementosaurus and the Iguanodon plush, or Aladar, which were quote-unquote sold out before the games closed for good. However, this has changed as both plush were recently for sale at Cast Connection, the store exclusive to cast members. Both were initially available last week but sold out fast, but again, one of them returned this weekend, so they may come in and out of stock there. Either way, it's very strange that Disney said they were gone, and then, oh, oops, here's a bunch, and we're gonna sell them to cast members. Now, here's the thing. If you wanted to, look, I think cast members should be able to buy things discounted. That's wonderful. I think this should have happened before it closed. I think these should have been sold before it closed, so that way it wasn't such a bad look now that you basically sold guests whatever plush you had left over in your stores that you wanted to get rid of, because you're like, well, demand for the games will be high the next couple weeks, so maybe we should just clear out this stock of things we don't want, and we'll just hold on to these. And I don't know if part of that was an attempt to not only clear that stock, but keep the lines shorter on the closing days, because otherwise people probably more people would have played games for prizes they actually wanted. But either way, kind of shame on Disney for this. It's just a bad look. If you're gonna sell them to cast, it should have been done in advance. It didn't need to be done after it was already closed, but whatever. The Jellyrolls Dueling Piano Bar at Disney's BoardWalk will close this spring officially, but they say they are going to move to a new location. Jellyrolls finally confirmed the closure on Instagram after basically denying it for the last several months. After nearly 30 years on Disney's BoardWalk, Jellyrolls is making a move. Come celebrate with us into the spring season and keep your eyes on our social media for exciting new updates. We don't know exactly where the new location will be, and chances are they don't either, but Disney did have to come out and make a statement saying that new location is not on Walt Disney World property because Jellyrolls was so vague about the announcement. We, of course, first reported the rumor that Jellyrolls was going to close back in October of 2024. At the time, it sounded like it was going to be January 1st. We then shared an update indicating that the would not be a December closing, instead would be sometime in this year. And of course, that has come to pass. The rumor is that Disney is going to open a jazz club that they own and operate in the space, which they expect to open sometime in 2026. Of course, Disney's BoardWalk has been undergoing a slow overhaul, including the opening of BoardWalk Deli, BoardWalk Ice Cream, Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs, and the Cake Bake Shop by Gwendolyn Rogers. Big River Grill and Brewing Works closed last year. Jellyrolls has operating hours now listed through at least April 1st, the last day on the current calendar, but that's subject to change. It's currently open from 7 p.m. to 1:45 a.m. most nights, featuring dueling pianos, and entry is limited to guest ages 21 and up, and there is a exorbitant cover charge, by the way. So a few things I want to say here. Number one is, the owner of Jellyrolls has known for quite some time that this was coming. They have known this, and they lied to the faces of the cast and the performers at Jellyrolls about this, to the point at which, I really love this, there was a TikTok, someone apparently, I think they wrote on the napkin, because you write on the napkin and you make a song request. They wrote on the napkin saying, play this song if Jellyrolls isn't closing. And they put it on the piano, and of course, the piano players who don't know anything, because they weren't told anything, proceeded to play that song, and then people on TikTok, of course, did their usual. The Disney online community did its usual dance around the fire because they thought I was wrong about something. That's what they always do. And then, oops, turns out we're not. So here we are, really despicable. Of course, there's a number of reports about Jellyrolls and problems. I know they received some government assistance during COVID, but none of the workers or performers ever saw a dime of that, supposedly. Mired in controversy the last couple years. I don't blame Disney for wanting to get away from it. It's also, that cover charge is nuts. The drinks are bad. The saving grace is that the servers and the staff are very nice and the performers are very talented. But other than that, it's just very poorly operated, and it feels like it's time for it to go. I love Jellyrolls. I will miss my older experiences I had there, back with Piano Rob, who plays with us regularly, and some of the older performers that played there. But it's just real shame that they're still lying that we're going to move. The theory out there is that this is because they don't want the performers to leave before the closing, which would leave them having to close earlier. So saying that you're moving is, it's like, oh, well, there won't be a break in my work because we're going to move to a new location. But, we will keep you in the loop as we find out more. I would not be shocked to find out they get a new location. I would be less shocked to find out that they don't end up moving. So there were for those that don't know, there were other Jellyrolls in the world. It was a chain. All the other ones went out of business and they all closed on January 1st. So that was where that came from originally. Then I think Disney needed a little more time to figure out what they're doing. So they got a sort of a short extension of their life at the BoardWalk. But yeah, Disney continuing to reinvent the BoardWalk. I saw someone comment on my personal TikTok. They said, they were celebrating that Atlantic Dance gets to live. And I'm like, probably not for long. It's like the last thing, and it's not well attended at all. So if you like Atlantic Dance, I'd go say goodbye to both of these at once. Yeah, because I don't think either of them are going to survive. Did you know there's a way you could save big at Disney Deluxe Resorts? Well, today's show is brought to you by DVC Rental Store, a great way for you to plan a luxury Disney vacation on a modest budget. You don't need to sign up for a full DVC contract, but instead they'll allow you to rent the points you need for a magical stay. It's really the best way to stay deluxe at a fraction of the cost. And now, thanks to their lowest price guaranteed offer, you'll always have the best price on the market. The rooms are sometimes up to 75% off, and they have the largest member inventory for points, so there's a lot to choose from. You can search their availability for free right now, which is not something all rental companies offer. And if you do choose to book, they have a great cancellation policy and a low down payment. DVC Rental Store is the #1 DVC rental company in the United States. It's one we've used many times, even before they were a sponsor. If you've ever watched a DVC room tour on this channel, chances are we booked it through them. So head to our description to check them out. A new collection featuring Sorcerer and Mickey Mouse has arrived at Walt Disney World, including a hoodie, a hip bag, mug, ear headband, and more. We found the new collection at the Disney & Company and Mickey's of Hollywood stores at Disney's Hollywood Studios, but they're all over property. Warning, though, they're selling out fast. People are gobbling this up. Usually I don't even talk about this somewhat generic merchandise, but it's very, very popular. I also think it's very cute. So we're going to talk about it real quick. There's a Sorcerer Mickey mug for $19.99. There's an ear headband for $24.99. A long sleeve shirt for $44.99. A adult tee for $29.99. A hip bag for $29.99. A drawstring bag is $24.99. The red shirt is $34.99. The baseball cap, $29.99. The Spirit jersey for youth is $54.99. The youth hoodie is $49.99. The adult hoodie is $79.99. And the Sorcerer Mickey ornament is $21.99. Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond shop will be undergoing some construction near the outside of the building starting in February. Actually, we put this in the script, and I saw just before I sat down that the walls are already up. This controversial shop is located near the exit of Disneyland Park's Haunted Mansion. The store opened to the public on December 23rd, a few weeks before the Haunted Mansion attraction returned in its normal, its corruptible mortal state, if you will. Haunted Mansion Holiday was still running at that time. The construction will include replacing concrete on the east side of the building to improve the drainage in the area. Of course, people were reporting a lot of flooding outside the store as of late. The store's operation will be unaffected, as you're seeing in these photos. Some props and theming may need to be removed in the meantime, but nonetheless, the store will continue to operate. After an 11-day refurbishment, It's a Small World at Disneyland Paris is reopening with brand new costumes and wigs for some of its dolls. The Walt Disney Imagineering and creative costuming teams of Disneyland Paris set out to recreate how the costumes looked when the ride opened back in 1992. They analyzed the original documentation and photographs so they could match the colors and materials of the original costumes. Some fabrics could be taken from the originals, but others had to be entirely recreated. Materials range from velvet to satin to cotton, and this work didn't simply happen during the 11-day closure from January 20th to the 31st, but over the course of 3 years. 2 years were dedicated to research and 1 year to dressmaking. The dolls getting new looks are in the final scene, where they all wear gold, pastel, and white costumes. No fewer than 60 items of clothing were created by a team of 13 dressmakers, wig makers, and milliners. An average of 3 meters of fabric was used per figure and 4 meters of wool per wig. And Imagineers inspected each stage of production, including the choice of fabric, prototype, and finished costume, to ensure high quality and authenticity. The costumes have to be durable, since the figures of It's a Small World are constantly in motion, and the maintenance team worked with the costumers to make sure the new apparel didn't get in the way of the ride's mechanics. Guests will be able to rediscover the final scene of the attraction looking just as it did when it opened, said Anne Cicel-Huron, the stage finishing designer, in a press release. The creative costuming team aims to replace more of the doll costumes in the coming years, as well as continue maintenance work on all the figures in Disneyland Paris's attractions. It's a Small World at Disneyland Paris, of course, again reopened on February 1st. You can check that out right now. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. Real quick, I want to mention the WDWNT TV channel. That's our new home for our vlog content. And in fact, the 4th edition of my vlogs from the Disney Treasure Maiden Voyage is out now. I know we're still putting them out, but they're very long and very intense, and we're still putting them out. So a lot of great stuff to come. My first visit to Hilton Head. We have the Hong Kong series from last summer that we still have to put out, and lots of current stuff will be coming in the not too distant future from Disney World and Disneyland, including us going to the closing of the Red Car Trolley this weekend at Disney California Adventure. So stay tuned for all of that. Again, you'll find it only at WDWNT.tv or search for WDWNT TV right here on YouTube. That's also, of course, the home every week of WDW News Tonight, live Thursdays at 9 p.m. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. A special shout out to our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.